Hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all well. You know, the sensible way when building a proper camera kit is to have your lenses to complement each other. You normally want to cover a wide range of opportunities. So maybe you go for a good wide angle and a workhorse mid-range zoom like the 12 to 40 2.8 or the 12 to 45 f4. And then you finish up with a solid telephoto. You cover as much range as possible. That's the logical approach. This is the opposite of that. I own two 20mm lenses for micro four thirds. They are basically the same in one key way and yet completely different in the experience they deliver. And today I thought I would talk a little bit about why I own both of these two lenses. Also, all the photos I just showed you were either taken by this lens or this lens. Can you tell which photo came from which lens? Yeah, me neither. Because honestly, the images are indistinguishable to the naked eye. Plus, I've edited the photos in post. But yeah, that's the starting point of this whole conversation. And I want to start with the classic, the Lumix 20mm f1.7 Mark II. I've waffled so many times on this channel about how much character this lens have. This is the pancake lens that defines so much how Micro Four Thirds feels. It is a legend. But I can honestly say that when looking at the images with the Lumix and the ones taken with the Ohm system 20mm f1.4, I can't tell a difference. Not sharpness, not character, not micro contrast or whatever. If I would have two images in front of me of the same scene with either of these lenses, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But still, this lens is so much fun shooting with, and I can't put words to it. I can't explain why. The problem is, for me, when I'm out shooting, I need my gear to disappear in my hands. Not literally, of course, but an extension of my vision, if you will. But I don't want to feel weighed down. And I don't want or need either my lens or my camera to be in my creative way. I need to be able to focus purely on the scene, not the mechanics. And the truth is, the Lumix 20mm started to be in my way the more and more I photographed with it. It's got look, it's tiny, but that tiny size comes with friction. The autofocus can hunt quite a bit, especially when the light starts to drop. It's not silent, it's definitely not fast, and those little mechanical delays, that little bit of clunkiness, started to constantly pull me out of the creative moment. And it's not weather sealed. Big minus. But still, the lens is fantastic and it has character, just maybe not in the way that I've told myself before. I think it's more of a personal thing, which I guess is fine if you can deal with the downsides. And that brings us to the new kid in town, at least for me, the Ohm system 20mm f1.4. If the Lumix represents that classic, slightly clunky experience, this is the modern answer to everything I found frustrating. Now let's talk about my initial fear, size and weight. The Lumix weighs a feather light 87 grams, meanwhile the 1.4 weighs 247 grams. It's a lot bigger and it definitely weighs quite a bit more than the tiny pancake, like almost 2.5 times more. I was genuinely afraid that the size and weight would be the thing that puts the OM system lens in my creative way. But thankfully, it hasn't at all. It's been perfect on the OM 5. I haven't felt it being in my way so far at any time. One of the reasons I took that leap, despite the size, was the weather sealing. That was a big part of why I bought this lens. That peace of mind, knowing that I can take this setup into rain or dust, is invaluable. Beyond that, this lens is objectively superior in the ways that allows me to forget my gear. It's sharp, it's fast, and autofocus is blazing quick. It just locks on instantly and quietly. Where the Lumix were holding me back, the 1.4 completely gets out of my way. It allows me to purely keep my focus on the scene, on the moment, and on the light, without having that little clunky autofocus noise constantly pulling me out of it. This is a lens that gives you pure creative flow. It might not feel as nostalgic as the Lumix, but when I look at the results, which again is basically identical, I realize that this lens is enabling those images with zero friction. This is a modern masterpiece. But let's look at the actual output again. I just want to share some more images from both of these lenses, and I won't play any games asking you if you can see any difference, but I will put the lens it was taken on down under the image. Well, there you have it. I mean, you can't, this is YouTube as well, so you can't really see a difference because of that as well. So I've actually got a link down in the description with a Google Drive link where you can find all the images I've included into this video, so you can check the images yourself if you want to, that will say. So that brings us to the ultimate question. After all that talk about character and friction, if I had to pack only one lens with me for the rest of my life, which lens would I pick? Well, the clear answer is absolutely the Ohm System f1.4. No question about it. And I know it's completely contradictory to the fact the images are basically identical, but when it comes down to actual real-world work or a memory I have to capture, the pragmatic choice that enables that perfect creative flow wins out every time. And it comes down to three things, all of which are essential for me in a reliable system. First, the weather sealing, and this is massive for me. I can trust the 1.4 in any weather I throw it in. Now, maybe I don't go out and photograph in rain that often, but when I do, it's reliable. But it's definitely a huge win for a small portable setup. The Lumix just can't offer that peace of mind. And that ties directly into the speed and balance as well. The autofocus is quick and it's incredibly reliable. But what I love the most is how it feels. It's perfectly balanced on the Ohm 5 body. Just like the 12-45 f4 that has been my go-to lens before I started using primes. It's a fantastic lens. It balances perfectly. And finally, there's sharpness. And that's the ironic part, because it doesn't matter if I shoot on the 1.4 or the Lumix 1.7. Every time I edit, I go into, in post, I go in and decrease the clarity and add grain, because I always feel that the images are way too clinically perfect. They don't have any character in that sort of way because it's so sharp across the whole scene. But I want the option of technical perfection, even if I prefer the look of little grit. The 1.4 gives me that safety net. The Lumix 1.7 is a classic with tons of personal history, but the Ohm System 1.4 is the modern workhorse I would bet my money and my memories on every single time. However, that doesn't mean that the Lumix 20mm is obsolete in any way, because it's a fantastic lens and it's a perfect budget option for those who either can't afford or don't want to buy the 1.4, because let's be honest, it's actually quite pricey. It's a significant sum of money. So if you're starting out, the Lumix is a perfect option if you wanna get a feel for 40mm and you don't care about that it's a slower lens and it's not well sealed and it's more of a clunky feel. But as I said, it's a fantastic lens. I highly recommend it. I still highly recommend this, even though I prefer the 1.4 right now. Ultimately, both of these lenses are fantastic, and yeah, I highly recommend both of them. I'm just leaning more towards the 1.4 because of the reasons mentioned: weather seal, autofocus, reliability, quiet. Yeah, so that's my story on these two phenomenal 20mm prime lenses for Micro Four Thirds. I'm curious to hear your take on a much bigger question though. When it comes down to your everyday carry, do you prefer a fast prime like these two, or do you rely more on a mid-range zoom like the 1240 or 1245? Let me know down in the comments below. Anyways guys, I won't bother you with more talk about these lenses for a while now, I think. I don't have any plans on it at least. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and consider subscribing. I appreciate it so much. But until next time, have a good day or evening whenever you're watching this. Out!